I'm Daniela Savone. I'm a chef and first-generation Italian from New York, now living in the South, and I'm on a search to find true Italian food. Follow me, the Italian gal with the wooden spoon, as I take your palate on a culinary journey just south of the Mason-Dixon line on a quest to uncover chefs who have captured the essence of Italian cooking and are bringing the old country to the low country. North Charleston, bordered by Charleston, Hanahan, and Goose Creek, home to the branches of the United States military, is the third largest city in South Carolina and one of the state's major industrial centers, filled with museums, historical sites, plantations dating back to the 17th century, attractive riverfront parks, and the Charleston Naval Shipyard. The city's motto, perseverance, progress, and prosperity, has made it known today as a great place to live, work, and play. And nobody knows that more than chef and owner Jennifer French of Amici's Italian Bistro, a New York native who grew up in a big Italian-American family who continues to work very hard at building an amazing reputation in North Charleston, sharing her love of Italian food, family, and traditions with the community. With the sounds of Sinatra playing in the background, red and white checkered tablecloths, Chianti bottle candles lit on every table, the aromas of garlic and fresh marinara, generations of old black and white family photos adorning the walls, Jennifer brings that old school New York City restaurant vibe to the city of North Charleston, where diners are greeted with open arms and a fork full of pasta. Hey, we are sitting here in Amici's Italian Bistro with Jennifer French. Jennifer Amici French.
Yes.
Hi, Jennifer.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I feel like I know you.
I know,
already.
we talk so much.
A native New Yorker.
Yes.
From?
I'm actually from the Hudson Valley.
Okay.
My family started back in Brooklyn, but I'm from the Hudson Valley. Just came back from there, so I got a little taste of New York again.
Yeah, I know.
Every once in a while, you got to go back.
Jealous that you get to go home.
Yes.
I'm from Westchester County, so
Westchester.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a lot of family there as
we're
well.
literally neighbors.
You're right. Didn't know that either.
Yeah. So what brought you down to North Charleston or South Carolina?
Yeah, South Carolina. We were originally going to move to Tampa area. And then my previous husband was a New York police officer, retired. He's in the Bronx, Clarkstown.
Mm-hmm.
So we came down here and we really liked it. And we decided to stay. Like the kids pretty much started high school here and that's all she wrote.
Okay. So you grew up in a very big Italian-American home.
Yes.
And so tell me what your Sunday dinners were
It's
like.
funny because when I was up, I just talked to my mom about it because I said to her what I was doing. So I was like, Mom, give me a little bit of the backstory, you know. But I can remember my Sunday dinners as far back, you know, from one of my very first memories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I actually wrote that in my cookbook. Like we were big, you know, church going family on Sunday. And so we all had big families, 5 and 4 kids. So it was like when we got together, you know, it was like a big, big ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't wait to get out of church and we would go and just help my Nana start cooking. And she had a garden always. Just take our shoes off, go picking in the garden,
Mm-hmm.
just loving it, you know?
Yeah.
Simple life.
Yes,
Simple.
exactly. So your mom and your Nana were the cooks of the family.
Still to this day, you know, my Nana has passed on, but my mom, when I just went up to visit her, we still cook together.
So at what point did you know that this was something that you wanted to pursue?
Well, I started working in a restaurant when I was 15
Mm-hmm.
at first. My very first job was that. But before that, we used to go as a treat. My dad used to take us to this little tiny neighborhood restaurant called Oreo. And I actually kind of modeled the restaurant after it
Mm-hmm.
because it's one of my childhood memories. Like we used to go get pizza there on Friday nights. Like that was our big treat.
Yeah.
And we knew them so well that, you know, once in a while they'd let you go through the back way and you would see the big pots of, you know, water boiling and they'd be there with the white t-shirts on and
Mm-hmm.
cooking. And it was just a very vivid memory for me. And I just, when I used to play with my dolls, the one thing I wanted was like a kitchen set. So it's always been there, you know?
At what point did you know, like, oh, this is what I want to do for like the rest of my life?
I think it was when I was a stay-at-home mom for a while, and I just thought it was natural. That's what you do. You cook for your kids like 3 meals a day. And I started really watching the cooking channel, and picking up a lot of things from there. That's when I was going to school. Also, I went at night when the kids, were sleeping. So I started thinking to myself, I would really like to put this into some type of job. So my plan was when I moved here, I was going to open up a small little like cafe, but not so much coffee, like soups and little sandwiches and stuff. And the one I was looking at fell through. So I kind of just thought, well, it is a big responsibility. And then I was actually looking for a good Italian place to eat in. So I came in here. I sat at that round table over there and the food was good. So we came back and became regulars. And then I got a job here because I figured, let me get back into, food and bev. And then within a year, I was the manager. And then my passion just grew and grew and grew and grew because I had so many ideas that I wanted to implement and stuff. And I was, I think, 48 at the time. So I was like, oh my God, no. Like, I can't do this. Not at this time in my life. I don't want to work full time. Here I am 6 years later. So working harder than ever.
I'm sure. Yes, I know. I'm aware. I'm following you everywhere, and I'm
working hard.
So I admire everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Like I said, I feel like we have very similar lives and upbringings. So Amici's has been open for 6 years.
It's going to be September 15th.
Okay.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Amici's is your maiden name?
It actually is not. Amici means friend. Amici means friends.
Right, in Italian.
So when I moved down and it was just me because my whole family was still up in New York.
Okay.
And we decided to name it Amici because it was all of our friends that kind of encouraged me.
Yeah.
And said, you got to do this. And
so your son is a chef.
Yes.
Your daughter also works here?
Yes, she's the manager.
And then your son-in-law too,
and my
right?
son-in-law.
So it's a family affair. Okay. So how did the locals respond to it? Like
they
when you
love
first
it.
opened up?
They
Sure.
love it.
Yeah.
They love it. Yeah. They I think that they feel like they're being transported someplace else.
Right. Yeah, you
And
do.
then-
You do feel like that.
Right.
Like
And so, but then I have the we call them transplants. They're here from the north.
Yeah.
And they recognize right away.
Yeah.
So
They
they'll
feel like they're
always
back
say,
home in New York.
do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? Yes. So
Right. So tell me a little bit about the menu.
the menu is that's a combination also of my mom and my nana. A lot of their classics are on there. My nana's sauce or meatballs, my mom's ziti, lasagna. And then I did work in a couple different restaurants from here. I worked at another one up in Somerville for a while. And I just learned a lot of things from them.
So you've drawn inspiration from basically your entire journey through.
And then some things we had to change here because of the locals. They one of the things that they constantly ask me for is something called baked spaghetti. So I'm always asking, what is baked spaghetti? So from what they describe of it, it's almost baked ziti,
right?
But they use spaghetti.
Spaghetti, yeah.
So I actually ended up doing a video on that, and a lot of people were really happy. I made it, and they ate it. But we kind of changed a few things on the menu to please them as well.
Sure, you got to give people what they want.
Right. They like fried food, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way everybody's brought up, you know?
So I think, I mean, just from reading everything about you, your bio and everything you do nonstop.
Thank you.
You are literally the Jennifer of all trades. Mother, obviously.
Right.
Chef, restaurant owner, cookbook author, just recent cookbook author.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're a gardener.
Yes.
Wife. A wife. A Italian cooking instructor.
Yes.
Okay. So many hats that you wear.
I know.
Your most important one. What takes
Is being a mother.
a mother, of course.
It is. I would give everything up if it meant you know what I mean? My kids are the most important thing to me.
Right.
They always have been. And I'm so glad that they're here by my side.
Yeah. So let's dive into the cookbook. Your first cookbook,
Yes.
My Menu of Memories.
Yes.
Tell me about that
I
title.
wanted that right from the start. I wanted something with my memories because the more I work here, the more they just keep flowing.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying, oh, let me get that. Or don't let me, how am I not going to forget this? This was such a great time in my life. Like, and so it just came upon me, like, actually it was during the pandemic. We would sit here and wait for the phone to ring for an order. And the whole while I was writing this cookbook, writing everything down that we were cooking back there, from the simplest thing, you know, to, you know, even, they're not very hard in there. I have to say it's a really easy cookbook.
Where can people find my menu?
Right here, right now, it's just available at the. So we got that, and we're in the process now of of it going
soon
on Amazon.
they can order it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What would Nana say today if she were to see you?
I know my Nana always had the expression of, what? Like, what? Me? Tell, oh, Nana, this is so good, or you make the best this. What, me? But I think she would be really proud of me.
Yeah.
You know, when I was moving from New York down here, it was a very emotional time for me. She was in her upper stages of life, and so, you know, you just never know.
Right.
And I never forget, she just said to me, you know, there's always seasons in life. And when, you know, the one season comes, you know, to a close, you know, you have a new one. And it's just like, you know, when the winter time, it's time for the winter to go away, you have spring. And so that's how I think of it, you know, like this is kind of a brand new way to remember her and bring out her dishes. And I got to tell you, my daughters love it. They, my daughter Abby cooks something every week out of it.
Oh.
Even though she was raised with it.
Yeah.
She's finding the joy in cooking.
Yeah.
herself.
Yeah.
So it makes me really super happy.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
I love that a lot.
Thank you.
So you also teach cooking classes.
I
right?
do.
Once a month.
Yes.
Saturdays. But
But I actually got a couple requests now. I've done one on Sunday, and I have another one for a ladies group coming up in August on Sunday. I'm going to be doing like a kids camp this month.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
That's
they're going to
fun.
be cooking a few times. It's just all things that are kind of coming together. A few years ago, when I first started here, I wanted to teach my friends how to do the arancini. And so I went to the boss and I asked him, and he was like, if you want to do it, you know, if you can figure out a way to do it and make me money,
Right.
you know, you can do it here. So I did. I orchestrated it, invited my friends. I got all the ingredients, and it was just remarkable.
Yeah.
So it was not even hesitation when I started here. Friends.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
they're
exciting.
wonderful.
That's exciting. All right, so what are you going to cook for us today, Jen?
Well, I kind of thought about it. It was difficult because I know how many things, you know, I have the book I wanted to make, but I'm going to make our original chicken Amici.
Chicken Amici.
Chicken Amici.
Okay.
It's just like a whole collaboration of, you know, authentic marsala with, you know, Americanized and then Southernized because we're going to pan fry it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it
With cheese.
Is that on the menu
I
here?
love cheese. Yes.
Okay.
And I have to say,
It's one of your biggest sellers.
it's incredible.
Okay. Well, I'm excited.
That's
I'm
in
really
there.
hungry too. So.
Me too.
Yay! All right, let's get to the kitchen.
All right.
So we are in the back of Amici's Italian Bistro in the kitchen, and Jennifer is about to whip up her signature Amici's
Chicken Amici.
Chicken Amici.
Yeah.
Chicken Amici.
Yeah.
And I'm really hungry, so I can't.
Yes, this is a recipe that came about just from chicken marsala, and we had a lot of people ask, well, what kind of like breaded chicken dishes do you have? You know, of course, we had the classic, you know, chicken parmesan.
Yeah.
So we decided to introduce marsala to people. A lot of people really kind of weren't all that familiar with it.
Right.
So we did that by breading the chicken. So next we're going to, and these were breasts that, you know, they're the big ones, and we actually butterfly them right on down, cut the fat off, trim them, and we pound them thin. That's just the oven. Makes all kinds of noises in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for that oil to get just a little bit hotter, and we're going to them in there and we're going to brown them up on both sides.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I have a pot of water going here, and we're going to serve ours. Also, typically on the menu, the marsala is with spaghetti, but with the Amicis, we wanted to introduce them to pappardelle pasta.
Oh, I love pappardelle.
My favorite.
Yes, I love.
Okay, so we have the water going for that. I have pappardelle. I have the luxury that, you know, I have every pasta I want under the sun. It actually is cooked. Pappardelle is, I like to describe it long, like a velvety ribbon. So this is basically already cooked. We cook pounds and pounds and pounds of this. But I'm just kind of gonna rehydrate it in the water in a few minutes. All right, I'm just waiting on my chicken to get a little warm up. In the meantime, we're going to saute up some mushrooms.
Okay.
These are just like white button mushrooms, you know, already sliced. You would not wash a mushroom, but just use like a, you know, like a damp cloth with it to clean them off. Because, you know, they do have like all the dirt and stuff. Just going to season them up lightly. Just going to take a little salt and pepper and put that in. And we already have our sauces going in here. Everything smells good back here. I see it rippling. I'm going to turn this up for you guys as well. And so typically, if you were doing the classic marsala, you would do the chicken in here.
Correct.
But we're doing two different dishes because I don't want all that grease with the mushrooms.
Okay.
So these are going to get nice and browned. And then we can actually add a little bit of garlic to it. Give it another layer of flavor. All right, there we go. So the next step we're going to do to these, why I have this cast iron thing here, is because we're going to put the chicken on here after it's browned on both sides. We're going to add a little provolone on the top.
Oh, provolone, okay.
Yes, we're going to stick it in the oven for a few minutes just to melt that together. And then we add it with the mushroom and the marsala, and we put it over pappardelle. So it's super good.
Yum.
Okay, so I'm just going to take these and just flip them over. Look how pretty they are.
Yeah. It smells amazing.
Doesn't it? I just made these with my mom when I went to New York.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I said to her, "Come on, Mom, we gotta cook while I'm here." You know, she doesn't. It's just her now, so she don't know how to. She don't know how to cook real slow, like small for herself anymore. So I was there. I was like, "Come on, Mom, let's cook together." So she's like, "Okay." So she's like, "What do you want to make?" And I'm like, "Chicken cutlet. It's easy. You know, we can just eat it when we're done."
Yeah.
So we topped them up there with a little pecorino, you know, so it came out really, 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 really nice. So the mushrooms are all browned up here. That happens really quick because they're like button mushrooms, so they don't have a lot of substance to them. We're just going to let those go for a minute. As soon as it's brown, one more minute, we're going to flip it over to the oven. So maybe I'll just get one more. These are a little bit bigger. I'm just going to come here and get one more. Now these are what we use, like we put our lasagna on, everything goes in the oven. The one thing my servers are very, very confident in when they give it to people. And then we're just going to take this now and we're going to put them in the back oven. So now we're going to finish up our marsala while that's in the oven because it's only going to take a few seconds. So I like to use sweet marsala. There's a real dry one, but I like the flavor of the sweet. And it basically goes for like a cup, maybe a cup and a quarter of marsala. So that's about a cup and a half, I think. So we're going to let this kind of reduce down. We already have our garlic in here, salt and pepper. And then I like to, this isn't typical either, but we like to add a little cream to it.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and add probably a cup of cream.
Okay.
So it's not a diet dish. And as this cooks down, it thickens. And it gets like that really pretty color. And we've already added like our salt and pepper to it. And we're gonna kind of let that boil down. Just add maybe a little bit of parsley. And I do have parsley in my garden at home, which I should have picked, but I brought all that basil today.
So you use a lot of your fresh herbs from the garden?
I do. I use rosemary, oregano. I actually, during the pandemic, I started taking all my dry herbs and I dried them, or my herbs and I dried them. And I got like a little, it's like a coffee grinder thing, and I ground them down, and we made Amici's Dash of Love.
Oh, like your old seasoning.
Yeah, we sell it up front, and people love it. I'm going to put the pappardelle in here just for a minute to heat through. It doesn't take long. It's already like a thin pasta. And I'm thinking that so I'm going to let this go. Thinking that our chicken in the back is probably, so I'm going to go back to the oven. Alrighty. They are nice and melted. I'm going to take these up front. So how this is going to thicken, it's reducing down now, but once you put this back in there with all that flour and the breadcrumb, it'll go into the marsala and kind of thickens it up.
There's chicken Amici
and veal Amici. Yes, okay. That is available. All right, so that's just going to reduce down for a couple minutes, and then I can get us 2 plates here, reducing down and getting thicker. It's because, of the breading from it, and of course just from letting it simmer here for a while. And I make sure that nothing is sticking, the mushrooms are good to go. This is such a good dish. Okay, so I'm going to put some pappardelle on our plates here. You kind of sit it like a bed on here. And that is chicken Amici.
Chicken Amici by Chef Jennifer French at Amici's Italian Bistro in North Charleston. Now I'm going to give it a go. Okay, we're about to dig in to Chef Jennifer French's
Chicken Amici.
Chicken Amici at Amici's Italian Bistro in North Charleston. Buon appetito.
Bon appetit. Salud.
Salud.
Alrighty.
She's like, I already know you already know it's good.
I already know.
Oh man. That is amazing.
Good, huh? That's why it's a favorite.
on that. It's so good.
Isn't it? I think it's just a combination with the, a little bit of the heavy half and half in the egg wash.
Oh, that was so good. This definitely does transport me back to Mulberry Street, Little Italy, New York City. The ambiance, the food, it is your perfect classic Italian American cuisine. And I'm about to just indulge and go to town. So, ciao from Amici.
Ciao.
Arrivederci.